Hey guys, I figured I would do a video. Excuse me, I do have a cold, so I apologize for the way I sound. I also got some dental work done, so I'm just kind of resting right now. And I wanted to show you what I got at Walmart and the blue butterfly. So I got at Walmart a lucky candle. I got a blue one, a purple one, and a pink one. Then at the blue butterfly, I got some, hold on guys, I'm trying to refocus this camera. I got some Ladies' Choice tea, the Lover's Tea. This was $2.25. That is what's in there. And this is what it looks like. And I'm drinking it right now. As soon as it cools down, I will take a sip. And I got a little piece of cotton candy quartz. I got some money drawing oil. This was $2.95. I got a little bell. This was $2.95 as well. And I wanted something, I really want one of those Tibetan singing bowls, but they are pretty pricey, and I'm trying to do a budget as much as I can, and so I'm getting a lot of products that are like under $10 if I can. So I got a little bell to ring for my altar, and my husband got a piece of pyrite, a lucky Buddha, and a cotton candy quartz as well when he was there. And I got some white sage spray because some days I can burn sage and then other days I don't have time, so it's really good to just use the spray bottles, and it's less affecting on my asthma and my chihuahua's breathing as well, so I try to alternate that as much as I can. I got some call clients. I got Night Queen. Got some copal. And then at Walmart, I got Inner Zen. It does smell like a light mint, which I'm burning that right now, and it's really helping with my breathing and relaxation. And then I got some agave white tea. This one I've never seen in the stores because we drove, it seemed like almost an hour to where I live. So I think it's about an hour to Portage. And I got Crystal Healing. Smells really good. And then he picked out some pretzel bars, strawberry. He loves fruit. He loves anything cotton candy, birthday cake, so that's what my husband picks out. So that's what he picked out, and I picked the other three out. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was these cards. Let me move some things here. I'm trying to make room. I'm sorry, guys. I'm slow moving because I'm really not feeling well, and the weather's been really, it was like really warm one day and then it got extremely cold the next, and it was snowing and raining in April. It was really strange. So this is why I have this cold. So this is the Viseversa tarot, and this is something my husband picked out. He always picks out the most peculiar decks, I've noticed. He has a peculiar taste. And So I'm going to be working with this deck. My guides have specifically directed me to use these cards for clients, but use it sparingly, which is a very interesting, I would say, recommendation or even request. And it does have a different language here. And what I like about it is it does have the different language in the back. And then it has the front meaning and the back meaning. Now, the one thing that I noticed is when it comes to the major arcana, they do have the back meaning, which is very good. Now, when you get towards the minor arcana, they do not have it. And my guides were telling me that this is supposed to be an intuitive and psychological growth process for me using these cards. So I feel like shadow work would be another great way to look into these cards, into my craft, communication with my psyche, the different parts of the brain and the hemispheres. I'm going to be using it for many different purposes. And it goes beyond, I feel, when I looked at these cards and I was meditating with them quickly, I found almost like it's almost like I can see myself building new neural pathways, which was very interesting, not only for, everyday logical reasons with the brain and how to cope with things and see things differently, but it also helped me understand a new avenue for my spirituality, a new way to look at things differently, and to see that everything can become new again if you dig a little deeper, or even instead of digging deeper, you could go the other way, which is looking more on a surface level instead of overthinking. So it could go both ways, which is really interesting to me. So I'm going to go ahead and show you these. This is, just a couple things that it talks about. These are the extra cards that come with it. Now, you will notice which ones are the front and which ones are the back. This is the front, and this is the back. So sometimes you could tell, sometimes you can't. So I could feel the left side of my temple start to cramp up. So it's making me it's using both sides of your brain, this deck, I feel. And it's very therapeutic for me. It helps me balance out, which, being a Libra, is very needed in my life. I find really hard time balancing and also finding consistency. So this deck is going to be personal use. So I think that's why my guides wanted me to present this deck to my clients in a very rare and money well spent, because I feel like when I use these cards, I can channel a lot. So I could talk more about that later if anyone's interested, but so this is probably going to be my higher priced reading with these cards. So you could tell this is the back and this is the front. And so it kind of reminds me of the conscious and subconscious levels of the brain and your higher self and spirituality and emotional as well. There is some physical gestures here and things to actively meditate with, but I feel like it could touch a lot of areas. It's something that needs a lot of time to take it all in. Excuse me. And I probably will make another video, but recently I've been going through a lot of changes, and so I have not bought myself a deck in several months. And personally, my husband bought me some for, I believe, Christmas, but I got rid of a lot of my decks. So it was exciting to get a new deck, and I really like just the different depictions, and I've noticed some of them are, like this one for an example, this reminds me of like a Greek card, okay? But then when you flip it over, it gives me a Native American vibe. So it feels like there is a lot of different, like this is giving me a Celtic and angel vibe, right? And, you know, astrology vibe. So it's got like the astrology silhouettes and different color correspondences. And then when you flip it over, I still get the same vibe, but to me this is more of a dream element. And then you have, see, it has a serpent, so it goes into that Kundalini Reiki, in my opinion. So it's a lot of I mean, you can look at it in so many different ways. And see, this has a Native American / African feel to it. And then when you flip it over, it has a very occult, very shamanic feel to it, and a little bit of Jewish in it. So it's very fascinating to not only feel, looking at these a little bit closer, talking with you guys, I feel like this is a deck that is very sacred to me. And not only because my husband picked it out, but because at first, I'm not going to lie, I was off put, a little bit taken aback by some of the artwork. I didn't think it was the most pleasing to the eye, you know, but some of it, as you get more and more acquainted with it and you start to really get to know it and its personality, it speaks and volumes as far as the different rabbit holes, the different avenues that you could go down, not only, you know, astrology wise, numerology wise, Celtic wise, you know, the different spiritualities, the different theologies, the different realms, and the different ancestral and cultural influences that it could have on a particular person and their subconscious mind. It could speak to their past lives, their present life, and it can go beyond the norm, you know. It's just very intriguing, because right here, this in my mind is more of the physical domain of your life, and then when you flip this over, it reminds me of the spiritual side, how it has not only the imaginative parts of it with the Pegasus and the different culture and the theology and tapping into the left and right hemisphere. As a psychology, you know, major, I went into bachelor's of addictions, probably considering continuing that education. I find that even if I do or do not, it doesn't matter. This is still going to be a tool of teaching for me when it comes to all levels of my life, you know. So I just really like that it has such a vast learning agenda, you know, or even not even agenda, just trying to find the right word, guys. It's almost like just the possibilities, the journey with this can be so profound for every individual. You know, it's just, it can mean something different to everybody. So I wanted to discuss the one card that was a little bit off-putting at first, and I will admit it was this card right here, the Fool. Now, I think what off-put me was his eyes. They look, if I don't want to like, they looked, and I don't like to use this word, but he looks possessed in a way, and it just kind of didn't feel right to me. I didn't like to me, and I hope I don't offend anyone, because I am not an artist at all. I am horrible at it, to be precise. But this almost was immature, in my opinion. It didn't have much energy to it when I looked at it. The only thing that I found that had a lot of energy to it was perhaps the flower in his hand, you know. But when I looked at the back, this is when it started to speak to me, with the dog and, you know, the different perspective and view of it, and how it could go beyond the physical aspects of who he was, and how, you know, even in life you can get not really deceived, but you can be unsure about someone's appearance, but when you look deeper into their soul, they become more beautiful, they become more connected to the same purpose that you have. So the things that might have poked at your shadow, or even perhaps made you put your guard up, you understand that had everything to do with you and less about them. So this was a very shadowy card for me, I feel, from this deck, and I'm going to be working with that. But the rest of the cards are very beautiful. I really like this card, and it has a lot of Yule energies in my opinion. And so I really like that feel of it. Now, the one thing that really stood out to me about this card was the pomegranate, and just the energy, you know, of her. And I really like this, how there's keys behind her, there's elements, and the male and female energy. You know, there's a lot of symbolic things behind her. This is another one of my favorites. I would have to say it kind of reminds me of Freya in a little bit of her personality, and it's got a lot of symbolic to it. I feel this is a perfect deck for not only witchcraft, but also any religion, like I discussed earlier. And the one word that keeps standing out to me is alchemy. How you don't have to be trapped in one particular set or belief or even religion, and you could still work with this, just because of all the different energies to it. I really like that. You know, I love birds, I love dogs, so anything with that really helps me tune into it. Now, this one I'm kind of still unsure about. I understand the concept a little bit, but the magician's kind of present again. You know, he's got that, I think it's called the Enoch or Anak, but it's basically the Egyptian cross of eternal life, and it's a very interesting concept here. Just very cool. I really like it. This one was really interesting. I kind of almost want to have a discussion about this one too. Like when I almost am considering doing live streams about tarot. Excuse me, guys. And what your guys' opinion is when it comes to these cards. It's pretty good tea. I just took a sip. Sorry about that. So, I just really, whoa, that's really enchanting. That tea. I just took the first sip and it took a while to process it all. So, I guess I could save this discussion for later. But if you just look at some of these, they can almost be, I don't want to say contradicting. I almost want to see a little bit of your guys' opinion of when you look at any of these cards, do you feel like there isn't much else to talk about when you flip it over? Because I find that there is some that they don't really give you much room to discuss the polar opposite, or where you could see it as almost like an escape route when it comes to the psyche, and where it almost feels like it's so grounded in the physical limitations of the depiction, you know what I mean? So it's something I kind of wanted to discuss about with you guys, if you guys are into tarot. But I mean, I have so many different ideas and so many things I can branch off when it comes to my channel. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to really, and it's still something I need to work on. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and I probably have more weaknesses than strengths. But it's something I really want to work on, is scheduling time out to do what I love, you know, and being who I am in a spiritual manner. So I really just want to try to be more present within my community of spiritual people and YouTube, and my helping build my website back up. I closed it because several reasons, and I might talk about that later, but I'm hoping that my friend will help me be reestablished on the web when it comes to my website. He's a very good mentor and a good friend, and I feel like he could really open and help me find my niche and a better way to display my strengths within the community. This, it gives me a Romeo and Juliet feel. So it's very interesting that it almost goes back to the archetypes of long ago, of how it all began and how these symbolic things started to appear. Another card that I'm just not sure of, the eyes are really interesting. So I think that's another shadow thing to consider, is why I feel so weird about these eyes. you know, but it's very interesting. Okay, so I just heard something from my guides, and they were telling me, as you know, the eyes are the windows of the soul. So where do you see it? How do you comprehend it? So I feel like maybe I don't know this deck very well. I was just introduced to it, I think, yesterday, if I haven't already skimmed over Amazon. But it just kind of reminds me of, again, it's just another portal where you can just keep digging or pulling back layers. I really like that turtle. Super cute. Now, see, that is interesting, right? That's what really makes me think, and I like things that make me think. I don't know. I can almost talk about these for a long time. So I might do a live video on these if you guys are interested. And we can just talk about each card. You know, we could pick a couple cards each week to talk about. And then if you guys want a reading, you could purchase a reading individually. But this is another one that I was like, whoa. Like, my mind just exploded into so many different ways of thinking and different avenues to consider in my life. Sorry, this video is gonna be longer than I thought, but I really just wanted to show you guys these and provide the opportunity of you guys to consider a different way of looking at tarot, and how there is decks out there. If you're not into the traditional tarot, I think it's called the Rider-Waite. I'm just not into the Rider-Waite at this point in my life. Maybe in my journey of tarot, I will get into that. I do appreciate it a lot, but it's something I don't feel like I have to appreciate tarot and for how it's came along and where it has been developed. Just really love these. This one's really epic. Really like that because it's got the astrology into it. This card really spoke to me in volumes as well. That one card right there, the Strength. Just because I could see, that's what made me started thinking about the cards differently. And how it could mean when it's in reverse. If you don't have these cards, if you're working with tarot in reversed, which I like to read reversed, because again, it just makes you think differently, can read the client and where they're at, perhaps in their perspective, or where they feel the blocks, or where they have been and where they've came from, or how they can heal and develop. So that's why I like to read reversed. And I thank you guys for sticking with me this long. I know my voice is probably very unappealing with my cough and my cold, but I found this very helpful for me and therapeutic for myself, and I hope that it helped you guys as well look at tarot differently or give you something to put on your wish list or even something to look forward to on my channel. Thank you again, and I hope that you have a blessed night, day, whenever you watch this. And please leave requests down below, like, share, and comment, and subscribe. Many blessings.